Cool.
Alrighty.
No.
Okay, get ready. So.
Okay.
Blake.
Yeah.
You are Tobias.
I'm Toby right
Your
now.
friends call you Toby.
My friends call me
Toby.
Toby.
Tobis.
Toby.
Your friends call you Toby. And you are currently in your human civilization. You're from a city called... What's your city's name?
Oh, shoot.
Your city's name is called Azarash.
Azarash.
Not... Yeah, Azarash. You're from the city of
It's
Azarash.
commonly misspoken.
Commonly misspoken. You're from the city of Azarash.
Azarash.
Where a wizard has opened up several portals before passing away.
Nice.
Now, your city has no idea how to close these portals, and they don't know how long they will be able to stay open.
Yeah.
So, they voluntarily took up a series of people that would say that they would go into this portal in order to explore this new world, not knowing if they'll ever be able to return. So, you being one of those people, are setting off through the streets of your large city. You're walking down the streets with with so many people, big crowds, all wishing you farewell, throwing roses and flowers across the streets before you, as you're all walking down and into this large sept like building.
Yeah.
That inside there are a series of portals. Now you have decided to go into, as a whole, this pioneering population has decided to go into the hole that is to the far right.
Okay.
Okay. In this hole, it's kind of this large swirl of this large squirrel of greens and yellows and different blues, and it kind of glows, and it seems the most appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Unsure whether or not this could be a whole other world from a different plane, from anything from the water plane to any sort of primordial plane.
Oh, so I know about the different planes.
You do know about the different planes.
Okay.
They have had you do some research before.
Understandable.
What is your character's profession?
Oh snap, Ethan! I need my thing. I chose my background as chaotic. Oh boy.
You're a chaotic profession. Just give yourself a job.
I
What was
was
your job before you decided to do this?
I was a school teacher.
You were a school.
I was an elementary school teacher.
Excellent. You know how to do research because you have been trained in the arts of academia.
Academia.
Elementary.
Elementary. Okay, so you have like the elementary version of what the planes are. No, you know more because you're able to explain it to children, which is something that takes a lot of skill.
That's
Anyways, so
Because
you,
children don't listen.
as a population and by your own research, have decided that this seems like the most pleasant plane to go into. So
Yeah.
your population of about 500 people have actually decided to go into this portal, not knowing if they'll ever come back, but establish this human population on the other side, hopefully.
Mhm.
So you're walking down the street, people throwing flowers at you, wishing you farewell. You're not really leaving behind any family. You're kind of lived a lonesome life, and that's the reason that you really decided to go off into this portal.
Yeah.
So
I'm a loner.
you're walking down the street with all the carts, carrying supplies into this brand new world. You walk up the stairs of the steps.
Oh, sorry. That's a big one.
Sorry, it's a brain thing.
It's a big thing.
Alright, so... Should we be worried? Holy cow. I can't believe we caught that on video.
Man, that'll be interesting to watch back. Alright, let's move on.
It's a condition. Okay, so you're walking up the steps into this large sept-like building. You go through the grand open doors, people wishing you farewell, and anyone who's not going into the planes, yes, goodbye. Anyone not going into these different planes are standing at the sides of the road, and they stop before going up the stairs of the set because anyone else is really a little scared of how unstable these portals are. So you walk up the steps into this dark lit room, only that you can see sunlight coming through some of the different portals, different lights of different colors, reds and blues and greens. There's about
RGB.
There's about 8 different portals opened up, each one of them about the size of maybe like a first-story building, but in a round circular area. They're swirling about, and all you can see is really this haze of colors as this trail, kind of by twos, you walk in side by side into these different portals. You know, your population that you've gone with walk into the one that's to the far right, which is this blue and green swirling portal. And as you go, you step up to it and you feel this cool rush of wind blowing out from this portal. It's about the same temperature of where you are, and you're somewhere in like kind of the middle regions of your continent, which means that you're in a very mild climate. So it does seem like a rather pleasant and similar area to go through. So you're walking up to this portal and you step through. And you feel kind of this rush of water, except for as soon as you go through the other side, you don't feel wet. And you walk through.
Is the water wet?
It's water wet. No one really knows. You walk through this portal and you come out on the other side. Your best friend just behind you, and he goes, doesn't say anything for once in his life.
Thank God.
He's known for being quite the loud mouth.
The chatty cat.
Yeah, but for once in his life, he says nothing. He just goes, and you can feel his breath on your neck. He goes, holy. Oh. He looks around and sees these large
Stop
trees.
breathing on my neck, please.
You see these large trees. He goes and it's just like, he grabs your hair. He's like, you seen this? There's large trees, larger than anything you've ever seen. Picture the redwood forest and then twice as big.
Okay.
So these are some like 200, 300 foot trees, even higher, some of them. Way, way, way up in the air. You see little flickerings of lights, and they look like little fireflies, little lightning bugs sprinkling around in this kind of twilight sky.
You would not believe your eyes. 10 million fireflies.
Lit up the air as you're falling asleep.
Oh,
No.
wow.
Okay, so you're walking through, and you're somewhere in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
And your friend comes up and is like, have you ever seen anything like this?
Do I? Yeah, blow your nose, you dummy. No, I haven't really seen anything like this. I haven't been here, you know.
Do you know what plane this might be?
It's like a wood kind of one.
A wood plane. I would say
I
that
won't
would be
find very
likely.
well.
Yeah.
Looks something like the storybooks that you see, like with the elves and the
Yeah.
fairies.
I think, isn't that like called the Fae? Isn't that one? Is that one of the names of it?
I've heard it called the Wilder, but I think the Fae's another name for it. Feywild.
I like my voice. Oh, I think this fits with him. He's gonna be like kind of sarcastic and nippy.
You're kind of a dweeb.
You locally pimp.
So you guys are walking,
That's the right word.
and you come a certain way through the forest, probably about maybe 5 or 6 miles as you're just walking along. It's this like really wide open forest, very cavernous feel to it. The ground is really covered in this thick moss that chokes out most of the other underbrush that would normally be there. So it's rather easy walking, other than sometimes these large roots that you guys can walk through, basically. They're like tunnels as they kind of snake up and down throughout the ground. You're coming up this area where you walk over this large root, and you kind of use it as a bridge to get over some small stream, and you see little things swimming in it, and they don't look quite like fish. They're almost shimmering with this silver like light that's coming off them. And
Can I try and catch one?
Yeah.
I'd like to
do
just
you have
like.
anything? You're like high up on a bridge.
I'm just gonna like. Oh right.
Yeah. You can go down on the other side, we can say.
Yeah, I'll do that, and then I'll just try to grab one
Okay.
with my hand.
You reach down and try to grab one, and the refraction of the water. Go ahead and roll, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, hang on. I gotta like look at my stats. What would that be?
Let's go with
Survival.
sure. Let's do a survival check. Catch a fish with your bare hands.
15 plus 3, 18.
Okay. Yeah, you do it. So you go and you grab in
Sick.
the water, and it's slippery like a fish, but as soon as you pull it out, you realize it has scales much more like a snake than the scales of a fish. It kind of slithers, and you see it. It kind of yawns its head open, and it almost has these little fangs, almost like a snake. It's wriggling through your fingers, and you can go. And do you want to grab onto it again, or do you want to let it go? Okay, you grab onto it. Go ahead and make a strength check.
I have like decent stats. So oh wait, strength is plus 0.
What kind of boons is
17.
Heck yeah, you do. All right, you grab onto it, and it kind of is squirming through your fingers. Its head turning, and you realize it's kind of more of this rainbowish color. As it turns, almost every different color is seen in its scales. It goes and it's trying to wriggle out, and you're able to grab it, and you stick your finger through its kind of gills right there, and you pull it up. It's a fish about this big.
Dang.
Yeah, so about
This
foot and a half,
sounds
2
like
feet.
this is really meta, but this sounds like one of the dragons from the other game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Chinese lung kind of
Yeah.
thing. Not Chinese, just the lung, the Eastern lung.
Eastern one.
Yeah.
There is no China.
There's no China.
China doesn't exist yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Or ever.
So you caught it, and it's still alive. So
I guess put it in my pack.
Caleb walks up and he's like, "Joe, look at that. You ever seen a fish like that? That's crazy. Here, you better kill it." He goes and takes his knife out. It's about like
My friend.
a knife. It's
My
like,
friend.
It's like a foot-long knife. He goes in and he's like, "Come on, give it here."
I protect it because I love it.
Protector, he's like, "Don't be such a twat."
I've already named it.
You named it. Named it what?
Jeremy.
Jeremy. Like,
Jeremy
don't reckon
the-
it'll last long.
Jeremy the snakefish.
He goes and puts his knife out. He's like, "Fine, you fire." He goes and hits you on the back of the head and like, "Come on, let's keep walking."
I try punching him and miss.
Okay.
Next.
I gotcha.
Alright, so you keep walking through the rest of the day. Eventually, this twilight kind of realm, it doesn't really seem to be getting any darker, so you guys decide to go ahead and take camp. So you're going and you set up this kind of canvas tent. You, your friend, and several other people are in this tent. And by the way, his name is Kalen. I don't know if I dropped that.
No, I
His
didn't
name is
actually know
Yeah,
my
your
best friend's
your best
name.
friend for years, the one person that you really know and love. His name is Kalen, and he's there with you.
Kayla. Ooh, nice.
Uh-oh, watch out, not a girl.
Sorry,
Just a guy.
Christian. Nothing.
Okay, so you're going and you're setting up camp for the night. You're not necessary for like really taking care of the entire tent.
That's fair.
So you're kind of standing back and you're like fiddling with the stakes. When all of a sudden you hear kind of this cry from deep out in the forest.
Oh snap! I'm gonna go explore.
After you cook those steaks, though, right?
What?
The tent stakes. Okay, so Kalen's over there. He's busy fixing up his tent.
Hey, Kalen, I'm gonna go check something out real quick.
It's like, yeah, all right. He goes and he goes back and he's still like fixing the pole. He's taking his hatchet and he's whittling down this kind of tree branch that they cut down. You can whittle with the hatchet.
You can whittle with anything.
It's got some branches coming
It's
off
just
it.
whether it takes longer or not.
All right, you. Okay, so because it's like a tent like pole
Yeah,
like in the middle. All right, you. Enough of that. So
Enough of you.
you go
You're
off
not
into
even
this
in
forest.
right now.
As you're walking out, the cries become a little bit more distinct, and there's kind of this, "Help! Someone help!"
I start running.
Okay, you
Is that
start running.
away?
I start running back. No.
Like,
I
"Oh,
run.
nope, not for me."
Well, help. That's not me.
Okay, so
I
you're-
go because I have a sense of wow. I need to help this presence.
Okay,
I have a need to help people while
So-
also being sarcastic.
you're running in these woods at this twilight, and it actually has since you guys have set up camp. It's strange, but it almost seems like as you're setting up camp, it does seem to be getting darker. So as you're running through these woods, it's turning to this sort of this. The twilight is the sun setting where you can't even see a sun just through all the woods. It begins to slowly dim, but you do see more of the life of the forest really shine and glow. The fireflies begin to become more bright, and you see little mushrooms on the floor that are actually very luminescent in color, more blues and greens. Like Avatar. You ever seen the movie Avatar?
I haven't actually.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, but okay. Anyways, with the blue people. Papyrus.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It's not honest trailer. It's no, it's the okay. Anyways, so
Yeah, just move on.
you're running through
Bad
this forest
reference.
now. You're ducking under branches. You're like hiding under roots, and you're crawling through. And all of a sudden, the cry, it seems like right behind you, and you go and you turn around, and you see that it is what looks like this woman laid out on the floor. She has a bear trap that you know came from your camp.
Oh snap!
Set around your perimeter.
Do I know how to
It
get
was
those?
dangerous for you to be running out there.
Oh,
A
yeah,
bear
that's
trap
true.
is snatched around her leg. Okay, she goes, and she's kind of like huddled up in pain, like around it. She's like, "Help me, please."
I go over and help her. Do I know how these things work?
It's essentially you have kind of this pedal in the middle that you step on, and that releases the spring that and snaps around
So
the leg.
looks
So
like
really,
I do
it'll
know
take
how it
it'll take a
works.
strength check.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I try to
To pry the
I
jaws
try to
open.
pry it open.
Yeah. 16?
16.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
fine.
I'll say you do that. So you stick your hands in between the teeth that have snatched around her leg, these iron jaws. You go and you pull and you're prying it open, and she's able to just barely get her foot out before it snaps shut, barely missing your fingers as you're able to pull them out.
Oh jeez.
She goes, oh, thank you. She goes and begins to rock back and forth as she's pulling at her leg, kind of trying to stop this bleeding that's coming out.
Oh wait, I don't have any powers. I can't.
No.
Even if I had a healing spell, I can't use it yet.
You're just a boy.
Yeah, I forgot.
You're just a school teacher.
Just a school
Do you
teacher.
know it? You can roll for intelligence or.
I roll to
Have any
see if I
bandits?
know how to
Let's
do
go for survival.
bandages.
5.
How about 8?
8? Okay, yeah. So you go up to her and you're like, oh, okay.
This looks like
Rub
it
some
hurts.
dirt on it.
That's all I got, my man.
I come to school
Sorry,
nurse.
sorry, I don't really. It looks like it hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to wrap it with?
I mean, I guess I could rip off a part of my shirt for you.
Be thankful.
All right, I rip off my sleeve.
Okay. You do that, and do you tie it around or what? She's holding her leg up like this to kind of stop the blood flow or slow it down.
Do you want me to tie it?
I would, yes, please.
All right, I do tie like where she's holding
Okay.
it.
Because of your role, I'll say you tied it. It's not the best knot, so she kind of goes and she fixes it for you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I thought I was gone there for a minute. Thank goodness you were walking by.
Yeah, I don't think you can die from a foot injury.
Well, if I had stayed here, it's tethered to the ground.
You make a fair point.
These forests are dangerous at night. She kind of looks around.
Are there a lot of bear traps over here?
I hope not. I haven't seen one before now.
Oh, interesting. I don't know what that's about. What's your name?
I'm Taryn.
Nice.
What's yours?
My name's Tobias, but my friends call me Toby.
Toby. I like that. You recognize her to be a more attractive person in your view. Describe your most attractive woman. Okay, just do hair. Okay, just give me a hair color. Eye color. 2.
Blonde, blue eyes.
Okay, so the area race. Okay, so blonde hair and blue eyes. You actually see that her hair, while it is blonde, it almost shimmers gold in some areas, and it looks like it could be spindles of actual gold. Little ringlets are tied in it.
Found the woman. Alright, sorry, woman. I'm gonna need some of your hair.
And little tree branches are woven within it, and you see on those little branches, they're actually carved very ornately. She goes, "What are you doing all the way out in these woods?"
Wizard opened a portal in my town, so you walked in with a bunch of my town.
A wizard, like a magician. Wow,
Yeah,
that's quite a story.
that's all I got, man.
Where do you come from?
Another plane.
Another plane.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called exactly.
She looks at your ears kind of strangely, and you realize that hers are actually more pointed.
Are you an elf?
Not quite an elf, but you could say something like that. Us
That's
fey
too
creatures. Us fey creatures are kind of hard to define sometimes.
You're all the same.
We're all the same.
It's like, never mind, sorry.
Try to stop that.
I'm so sorry.
Alright. So,
Just kind of slipped out.
you notice as it's getting darker, she kind of says, I should be getting back.
Came back where?
It's my home.
Where's your home?
It's a ways through the woods.
You need some help? That foot doesn't look like you can walk on it very well.
I think I'll be fine getting home today, but I'd like to see you again.
Well, I'll be here with some of my people. Well, I don't know. I don't actually know where they are.
I could find you.
Whoa.
She's the one.
Will you do
I
this
can
for me? Will you light
Yeah.
a lantern and hang it from the tree branch?
If I can find where my people are, yeah, I'll do that.
You ran from that direction. She points you back to the way that you came from.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Why is
I'll-
she paying attention?
I'll hang a lantern on a stick or something.
Pass over.
I'd like
Ugh.
that.
Why would-
She goes and she gets up and she looks like she was about to hobble off when all of a sudden she walks off with like more grace than you've ever seen before. She walks behind a tree and you don't see her walk any further. She's gone.
What the heck?
Bathroom.
Caitlin, I got a good story for you, my man.
Alright. So, what do?
I walk back.
Okay, you get back and it actually turns to a full-on night. Even look up into the sky and it's so strange that the colors here are so vibrant that when you're looking up at this moon, it almost swirls with these different blues and aquamarines, and it looks just so otherworldly that it doesn't look quite like a moon. It could be some other planet.
Wow.
Dragon.
So, you get back to the camp and you notice people are huddled around bonfires. Some of them it's gotten late, as you could say. It's probably been about an hour walking there or running there and then running back, and the time you spent in between. Maybe you wandered through the forest a little ways, trying to find your way back home.
Yeah.
Little Toby. And
Sorry.
you get back to this camp. You look around and you see that Kaylin is at one of the fires.
I awkwardly walk over to him like.
You do that.
Okay.
He's sitting there at the fire, and when he sees no one else is really looking, he kind of turns his back and like he goes and takes a bottle out of his back satchel.
I
He takes
tap
it
him
out.
on the shoulder
It's like,
as he's
shit.
doing that.
Oh, you scared me. He goes and takes a little guzzle and puts it back.
What's that, man?
You know I drink. It's not a surprise to you.
Oh right, I forgot.
Yeah.
My
My
bad.
bad.
You want some? Just don't show anyone. You're
Nah,
not
man.
supposed to be drinking.
Nah, man, not right now. Do I have the story for you?
Story for me. What, you take the world's best piss off in the woods? What took you so long?
Well, I sure did that as well, but so I was walking because I heard this like cry for help, and then I found this woman stuck in one of our bear traps.
Cry for help like someone's trying to kill themselves?
No, they weren't
Oh, like
trying to get
someone was-
attention.
Oh jeez. Like someone was stuck in a bear trap.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's good. That's good. He goes, who was it? Was it one of ours?
No, it looked like she was from here.
From here.
Yeah, she had like pointy ears and stuff.
Pointy like an elf.
Yeah, like an elf.
Oh.
Yeah, but she said that she like wasn't one.
Wasn't an elf. What
Yeah,
else
so
is there?
apparently, yeah,
Little fairies and
that's what I thought.
what, goblins, and she's probably a goblin.
No, she's like pretty. She's pretty big, like tall wise.
Pretty big, like obese.
No, not obese. She was like she's like really tall and thin. So she wasn't small.
Sounds like a
goblin.
perfect woman. Not much to look at home, eh?
Perfect woman.
Tall,
Perfect woman.
thin.
Tall, thin, that's all you
Sounds like
need.
a perfect woman. You don't get the answer to that at home, huh?
That's
She
true.
goes and like hits you in the arm. So yeah, take a seat.
All right, done.
You do that. You need to make your roll. Oh yeah.
Oh,
This is
okay.
Natural 20. You
Natural
sit down
20.
with the greatest of ease. It's like that. You snap your fingers. It's done. You're already sitting.
It is finished.
It's like that was a good sit.
He tells you to sit down and you're already in a chair.
All right. Do you
Why
want
is that funny?
do you want to talk to him about anything else? Ask him anything. Do you want to?
Well, what's been happening over here while I was doing that?
Not much. Most of us were working, unlike you.
Do I look like I'm helpful for that?
Yeah, you're right. Look at those arms. He goes and like pokes them. Like,
Hey,
huh,
don't poke my
not much meat on
arms.
those bones, eh?
Yeah.
Alright.
Hey, so that's it. You just
Nothing
building.
exciting. Yeah, went through a bottle or two. Not too much though.
It's a bottle or two. That's obviously
hour.
quite a bit. In
You know
an
what I mean?
hour.
It takes more than a bottle to get me drunk.
It's true.
Of course he's
You're a little
Scottish,
concerned
but
just
still.
because you know that he's actually second in command on this trip. And
Wait
he
a
should not
second.
be drinking.
Shouldn't I have known some of this before? We
You
just
know
kinda
this now. It
started?
wasn't super relevant before.
Alright, fair enough.
He's second in command to another, the Commander Obrel, or Lord Obrel.
Lord Oberon,
Yeah.
King of the Elves.
No.
Wait a second.
Oberon.
Oh, wow. You know, man, I think you should watch yourself a little bit.
Yeah, you
Just-
should watch yourself. Get out in those woods.
I met a beautiful woman. I think it's fine.
You know nothing of the stories. You learned nothing. Did your mom not read you any child stories?
I didn't
don't
have a
have a
mom.
mom.
I'm an orphan, you idiot.
Almost forgot.
Oh, my God.
Your dad joke to Joey.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah, he's like, sorry about that. He goes, he touches your shoulder. You sure you don't want anything to drink?
Just some water.
Some water.
Take a Long Island iced tea, virgin.
Alright, did you want to ask him about anything more about this world, or?
I would
You
like
know,
to play.
I'm a little tuckered out. It's like 8 o'clock. I think I'm gonna go to bed now.
8 o'clock. Yeah, there's not much time to go by here. Did you notice how the moon seemed to come up just as we were setting camp?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Strange. Well, you have a good night. I'm just gonna sit here for a while.
I try to playfully punch him on the arm, but end up pushing him into the fire, and he died.
You push him a little bit. He goes, watch it. He goes and like hits you in the chest. You're a little weak. And you go, ow. You take 1 hit point of damage.
Oh, oof. You know I have sensitive bones.
Go sleep it off.
You little. I walk
Alright,
away.
so you're going through these days, and as you're walking, and you take down camp in the mornings, you set it back up at night. At that nighttime, do you end up setting another
I end up setting up the lantern.
Okay. As you do that, you actually, we're going to kind of fast forward a little bit and go through this.
Thank
But
goodness.
several times through these nights, you've done this for about, let's say, you've been in here for about 3 weeks as you're kind of traversing around these forests. And as it seems, it's such a large forest, 3 days, there's no sign of really any change.
Mm-hmm.
You can't notice really any other biome, like Minecraft. You don't notice anything else other than these large
Exist in real life.
these large trees all around you. But each night you are setting these lanterns as you're setting up camp, the moon seems to rise, mostly as people are getting tired. But you have been getting more and more tired of late because as you're not on these regular cycles, your commander, Lord O'Brien, he's pushing you rather hard, and even though against Caleb's wishes, you're marching some like
Wait, his name's Caleb? I thought it was Caleb.
Kalen.
Okay.
You're marching some like
Just gotta
20
make
hours.
sure.
20 hours, sleep 6 hours, 20 hours, sleep 6 hours. So these are long days, and you're spending most
That's
of
like
that.
in real life. That's like what I'm doing now. I'm up for 20 hours and I sleep for maybe 6.
So, wait.
slowly getting later. Here where time's no object. But anyways, okay. So
Blakeman's time to sleep. Snap.
what Infinity Stone do you have? The green one.
The green.
Gotta sleep
All right.
for the next
So
2
each night you're setting these lanterns, and you notice little like tinkling of bells in the forest, and you use those to follow. You follow those into the forest where you're making friends with this Spade woman.
Yeah.
Right.
Making friends, my
Making
dear.
friends. Only friends so far.
Only
You're
friends.
just friends. Okay.
I don't have sexual relations with people I just met.
All right,
Not
enough
have
of
sexual relations with that.
Okay, so it's been about 3 weeks of you meeting this woman in the woods, and again it's nighttime, where you go and set a lantern, and you hear the bells tinkling in the forest. So you go and you're walking there, and you see her off in the distance. And normally when she's sitting and doing something or just waiting for you, you see her kind of waiting behind a tree, like kind of leaning out, Taryn. I think. Did I say that?
No. I figured I should have asked, but I didn't.
No, I
when
told you
first
her
met
name at one point. I did. Okay, I'm gonna call her Taran, okay?
Torin.
Taran.
Gotcha.
Taran.
I was on fans because I think they're Taran.
That was a good one. Alright, let's move on.
Okay. So, you see her, and
Alright, shut up.
she's waiting there, kind of leaned up against a tree. She's waiting for you, but she looks a little bit more nervous tonight. She's kind of like waiting for you, kind of playing with her hair.
Ayo.
How to get women one.
She
Yo.
kind of just smiles at you and she goes,
You're weird.
"You're weird." No, she goes, "You should come with me."
Okay.
She waves you over and she actually reaches out her hand for you to take it.
I don't feel comfortable touching women until the 20th date.
The 20th. It's been 3 weeks.
How many days are on a week in this civilization?
It's,
on this
okay, 3
plane?
weeks by your standards. You're still going. So it's actually been longer because your days have been longer.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So really, it's been almost like, what, 3.5 weeks maybe?
Alright, I guess I'll take your hand.
So 21 dates
Grabs
so far.
one finger.
Grab just a single finger. Let me grab just your middle finger though.
Here, let me lead you to the woods. Okay. She goes and she's taking you through this forest. And the forest comes alive. It seems with her almost even more. You notice under her footsteps, this moss, it glows this very vibrant, almost like embers, seem to spray up from underneath each footstep. Just
an
lighting her
avatar.
path. Like an, what?
Like
No.
an avatar.
Okay, maybe, I don't remember.
You stop that.
Okay. So she's walking,
I don't
and
get it.
it only seems to be behind her, but you notice the forest, it almost seems to kind of creak and sway with each of her turns and twists. It almost seems to move out of the way for her. She's going through the forest, she's like, "I want to show you something."
You're
She
already
takes you
showing
down
me
further.
something. You're moving the forest just by walking.
No, not that. Something beyond me.
Oh.
She
Oh,
goes-
beyond you. Sorry, that was a little meta. My bad.
She goes and takes you, and she pulls you like after her faster, and you seem to be walking and almost running at this pace where the forest almost seems to pull past you faster than you're actually walking. It's rather kind of, you get this kind of tunnel vision as the trees seem to sway and bend past you.
I seem to see these misty.
But off in the distance, you see these kind of large, this glowing orb about like the size of like a golf ball, the size of golf
I grab
ball.
it.
You try to grab it and it kind of moves away. It floats away and goes.
It's a will-o-wisp from Brave.
You don't even have to roll for that. I, guess you, I mean, I would say, hey, you're metagaming, but it's not really from D&D necessarily. So I'll let you go, you school teacher.
Yeah, I'm a school teacher. I
so
put Brave on in my
You
costume
recognize
all
it
the
and you
time.
say that, hey, it's a will-o-wisp, and she goes, yes, you're right.
Thank you.
And
Grows red hair.
if you had the chance to change your fate, would you? Okay, so you're sitting there in this forest. She pulls you up to this branch that almost it reaches out from the ground and bends over to create kind of a bench for you to sit down. It's a very comfortable bench, surprisingly, for a branch.
Should I say I sat down?
Okay, for you to sit down, I
I
said.
sit down.
It looks surprisingly comfortable.
I take
Okay,
a seat.
you take a seat.
Alright, I'm gonna take a seat now.
Okay, and she reaches out, and the wisp floats into her hands, and you see it almost flutters
Lucky.
like it flutters
I'm
like
talking as my
a little
you can't
candle.
tell.
And she goes, "I want to see something." She grabs it,
I didn't say yes.
and it's without consent.
Ooh.
She grabs it, and all of a sudden, the entire forest around you that was lit with color, each of her footsteps had like glowed and stayed glowing behind you. So you see it almost. You saw this kind of this pattern that spread up the trees in this brilliant light behind you. But when she grabs that will-o-wisp, the entire forest around you seems to go completely black, and you're nothing.
What the heck?
Okay. So,
I'm not seeing anything, Taryn.
you're talking, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I am.
you're talking when you realize like the heat around your face, or maybe you were blushing
She's gonna
from being
taste
around this pretty lady.
Very
She has
beautiful.
golden hair, so.
You
Golden
know,
hair, blue eyes.
it's growing even like Christian. It's growing even warmer. Whoa! It's growing even warmer.
Oh.
And you hear kind of this rushing,
What the heck?
this loud clapping crash off in the distance like thunder.
Alright, Xavier, are you ready?
There you go. Okay. And you hear the sizzling of flames somewhere off in the distance of a roaring fire. And as you come to, your eyes are still. You feel like your eyes are closed because you can't see anything, but you feel the ground has changed, and where there once was a lush forest, you feel only the dry, cracked earth.
What the heck?
It's very rocky. It's It's not even dirt. It's this kind of porous rock that's kind of sloughed off, and it's like pea gravel, but sharp.
So it's like granite.
Like granite gravel. Okay, and as you're coming to, your vision starts to come back, and it's pulsating this red glow from really your heart beating and the blood pulsing through your veins. You're noticing as it kind of, as your vision comes back, and you see yourself on this large cliff face. Down beneath you, there's just that same blackness that you saw before, and it's this nothing.
It's Avion.
Stop that. Okay.
No name drops.
You yell help, and the echo seems to go, and stop suddenly as it kind of echoes out into the nothingness. Now, you're on kind of this crag, this little, it's almost like a little shelf. It's about maybe 4 feet, like out from the next cliff face where it juts up another some 100, 200 feet.
Oh.
So high above you, and it's this sheer cliff, nothing that you could climb. But far beneath you, there's just this black, and you almost see the little rippling of what looks almost to be waves of something rushing off into the blackness, and then it stops, and it's just pure black.
Whoa.
The purest black you've ever seen.
Pure.
Okay. Now, you're stuck there for some time that you really can't ascertain as you try and go and like reach up the cliff face and realizing there's really nothing you can grab onto. And as you go and you're looking down, there's nothing around you. You hear kind of yells and screams of really horrific things behind you. And as these screams persist, you realize they're not really behind you, but they're in your head.
The heck? What's happening?
You feel these memories start to come back, and they're just in little waves. As you don't know how long you've been here, your stomach is gnawing at you from hunger, and you see that wave below you rushing out into the nothing, looking ever more attractive as you're to jump into as you start to remember these horrific things. You feel this sense of really dread within you as you start to remember the forest again, and you start to remember your camp, and you see your friend Kalen, and the most prevalent memory is of you slitting his throat.
GG.
While he slept.
What?
You see like his throat opens up like another mouth, and blood just spills out.
Oh.
Completely silent. As you go to the next person, laying beside him a woman. And one after one, you murder your entire camp in the night, completely still. They seem to be almost in a sleep that cannot be wakened. But it's by your hand that you murdered all some 500 people of your camp. It was a busy night for you, we could say. But you're getting these memories that are so horrific that you're looking down at this cliff and you think these are true memories. You're not sure, but they feel so real that there's nothing else in the world beyond these memories.
Dang.
And you're looking down at this cliff and it's looking ever more inviting.
I'm Blake's conscience now.
No.
Okay, what do you
I
do?
resist the urge.
You resist the
as
urge.
much as I can.
Resisting as much as you can. You almost feel like something is within your body that forces you to jump. And the next thing you know, you're falling. And you're falling, and you're falling, and you're falling, and there's nothing. There's nothing beneath you. And you feel...
Falling into the void with the 255 regen.
Okay, enough. Okay, and you're falling and you're falling and you're falling, and you feel almost this wind push through you just as you're going down, 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 this hot, hot air. And you feel almost as if not just your skin, but everything within you is kind of sloughing away. It's just melting. It's not really painful, but it's a nothingness that's coming about you. And you see, as time goes past, you just look at your hands, the hands that you use to slit everyone in your entire camp's throat. You look at your hands and they blur red, and you remember the memories of your hands just covered and caked in drying blood. And as you see them red and you see them normal again, little after little, that red begins to disappear. And you notice your fingers really disappearing into this nothing cloud, this deep, deep black. And one after one, you see it kind of spread up your arms, and you look down at your body as you're falling and falling, and you're spinning, and you're slowly disappearing, noticing yourself turn this dark charcoal color, and the rest of you floating off into the nothing in this deep cloud. You look up to the sky that is still this fiery brimstone color, and you see really this trail of smoke leading up behind you, and you're falling for days and days and days, and for so much time that you don't really know what's happening to you. And it's for so long that you lose all track of time altogether. It could be days, it could be months, it could be years that you're falling. When you see off, it could be a few seconds, you really don't know, but you see far off in the distance this one silver light. It looks almost as if it could be a star.
What is that?
And slowly, you see it grow brighter and brighter as it's coming closer and closer.
Oh God.
Something that is almost falling in its own right. It makes no sound. You hear nothing anymore. No wind, not anything. But as it grows brighter, you feel this heat that's not the same as everything else around you. You're kind of in this nebulous of no feeling, but you do feel this one. It's the feeling of sunlight, something that you haven't felt in what could be days, years, months, anything. It's an endless amount of time. You feel it come onto you, and all of a sudden you feel it within you as it collides, and you're spinning and you're twirling, and you notice, you see that your arms that had once disappeared all of a sudden flush out with light again. They're not the same color of flesh that they were before, but they're this charcoal gray cloud that are filled with light. And you hear this little voice in your head, and that voice sounds like,
What?
"What?
What just happened?
Okay, you hear this voice, and it's kind of, it's saying things to you, and you don't really understand what it's saying. But all of a sudden, you feel this falling that you had, it rushes back upwards, and for only a few seconds, you feel like everything might be okay. And as you're rushing up and up and up, you see the cliff once again, coming into view. And you fly up and over the cliff when all of a sudden you are weightless again. And everything comes back onto you, this sort of gravity, as it pulls you back down to the earth. And you hit the ground and your body seems to be shuddering with some sort of light. You look like a storm cloud that is shuddering with some sort of lightning within you. And you hit the ground, the air knocks out of you, and you cry out.
His name was lit.
Wait, what? Sorry.
You hit the ground and you cry out.
Holy.
And we'll go ahead and stop there for your character. That is your introduction. Okay.
That was a solid hour. And,
That lasted a whole hour? Wow.
We started at like 10.